start to the season so far you got to be pleased with?
I am pleased. I think when you've been on the road for 2 weeks, the travel hasn't been easy. We've had different weather situations throughout. I thought this team has handled it extremely well, and we've played some good baseball. We've been challenged in some situations too. And as I stand here, when you get up 18-1 in games and you're up 19-0 in games, it's hard not to lose focus of your players. And I'll say what I said in the post-game comments after Sunday's game. That's probably the biggest glaring thing that makes me excited about this group. That I may not be wrong in what I said about their focus and their togetherness. Is these guys didn't miss a beat at all throughout the whole weekend. They were into everything that was going on. They were into when we put in guys to pinch hit, where Leno Ramirez gets his first start Sunday, and our team, the 28 guys that were there, the 27 that were in the dugout as he took his first at bat, were as involved in his at bat as anyone I've ever seen. And it just goes to show the togetherness and the love, and that's the thing. If we can continue to capture that each and every day through the adversity that will continue, that will be out in front of us, then I like our chances. I think we need to get better in some areas. First and foremost, the pitching staff. We need to become better strike throwers. The offense is obviously clicking on all cylinders right now. We can't expect that to stay throughout the whole season. If it does, then it's going to be a really fun year. But there's going to be times where we're going to run up against some buzzsaws on the mound that we're going to have to win other ways. But overall, it's been a good first 2 weeks. Last weekend was a great weekend, and I continue to get more educated about what these guys are really about.
What did it do for you guys from a confidence standpoint? Obviously, coming into the season, offense was a question. To go out and score 51 runs in a 3-day weekend. What does that do for these guys going forward, just individually and collectively?
Well, I think, Dustin, the biggest thing it does is confidence is a huge factor in this game. This game is all about trust and confidence. But what happens is when we do hit that skid somewhere, or guys individually hit those skids, they have something to go resort back to now of when they were doing good. And then if you start the year and you're looking up at that scoreboard and they post you're hitting 205, you're hitting 195, you're hitting 250, you don't have anything to go to. And those numbers don't lie sometimes when they're up there. These guys have put up some gaudy numbers, really gaudy numbers. I mean, when you have guys like Jordan Rogers, who has more RBIs than even he had last year. You have Moberg, and I don't know this for a fact. He may have more hits this past weekend than he did in his career here, to be honest with you. And that's not his fault. That's partially our fault for him not being in the lineup every day. They're doing stuff that is within reason for what they should be doing, but it's at an incredible rate right now, and the confidence factor. These guys are enjoying it. It is fun when things are going right. It's fun to be around each other, but I think it'll help us when we get through the adversity too, because now we can go back to something of when things are going right in a lot of areas.
You mentioned Moberg, also Vince Jackson. Obviously, I think he has 3 home runs already. Those two guys were obviously huge keys. You put Moberg up at the top of the lineup where he'd been 5 for 30 last year, and Jackson certainly were hoping for something from him. To have those two guys individually do what they do, does that do for you guys just structurally as a lineup going forward?
I don't know if there's any easier question. It does. It's amazing what it does for us. And I'm going to throw in Chris Hall, and I'm going to throw in Derek Lance. Those guys that are all surrounding our superstar. And then I'll throw in Jordan Rogers, too. Jordan's numbers aren't gaudy average-wise, but he's sure gobbling up the RBIs like a Pac-Man, to be honest, like he's playing a Pac-Man game. Those guys are performing at a level that when you draw it up, older guys, been in the program, you couldn't ask for anything more out of them. And they're playing the game with having fun, they're playing aggressive, and they're being great teammates. And more importantly, they're being great leaders and ambassadors for this program of what they're doing every day on the baseball field. And it's making it easier for some of the younger guys, whether they're playing or not, to have someone to look up to, of someone that's doing it right each and every day. But those guys, and what excites me, Nick has had a great start for us. Not a super start, he's had a great start. But I think this team has proven to themselves that it doesn't always have to be about Nick. There's other guys that can do it, and we don't have to look to Nick's 3 or 4 at-bats during a game to lead us to success. There's other guys in that lineup that are going to help along the way. But I had 2 coaches this weekend tell me after they played us that Vincent Jackson was a big leaguer, that he stood in the box like a big leaguer. I like to hear that, because that bodes well for down the line. We want other teams to think that, because we've waited a long time for that for Vincent to be talked about like that.